Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Liam Jenkins and welcome to a video I really didn't think I'd be making this off-season. On Monday afternoon, the Philadelphia Eagles decided to announce that they've parted ways with head coach Doug Pederson. Now, obviously, this comes on the back of a 4-11-1 season and a year that was utterly mired in disaster from offense to defense, quarterback, special teams, front office. No matter what it was, the Eagles found a way to bollocks it up. And was Doug Pederson the right fall guy for that? That's what we're going to get into in today's video. Before we do it though, guys, a massive thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this content. I promise there's more on the way. It's just been such a hectic period at PSN at the moment. If you could leave a like and more importantly, drop your comments down below. I want to know what your thoughts are on this because I know a lot of people who are going to be appreciative of this move and other people who are going to despise it, and for very good reason. Also, if you want to continue that conversation, you can do so on the Flick Sports group chat. On our group chat on the Flick Sports app. It's called PSN Eagles Nation. There's a link to it in the description below. It's free to join. There are over 600 Eagles fans there. There's daily discussions, giveaways, competitions, and so much more. Make sure you're a part of it. So let's get into this move. Why was Doug Pederson fired? Ultimately, we don't know. Jeffrey Leary said the tanking thing had nothing to do with it, probably because he played a part in it. That would be my guess. And that, for me, before we get anywhere else, it's probably the biggest thing about this whole move is the fact that there is a disconnect between the front office and the coaching staff, and there was no way they were going to fire Pederson for a move they've probably pushed him into. Now, I've said since day one, if you go back onto my channel, you listen to my podcast, that I think there is a very, very distinct disconnect between the front office and the coaching staff. It just felt like the Eagles were trying to fit round pegs into square holes, and neither side wanted to adapt. Howie Roseman would draft a ton of speedy players with huge upside and very, very low floors, and expect Doug Pederson to use them in a certain way, a way in which he simply couldn't or didn't want to. What that meant was that Pederson wasn't going to move his offense, Rosen wasn't going to change his philosophies, and the Eagles started to blow up from the inside. There's also been disconnects in the way that Pederson has seen things. We remember last year, he guaranteed famously that Mike Groh would return, and a day later, the offensive coordinator was fired. So that went well. The team then decided to replace Groh with a flurry of embedment of offensive coaches that just seemed to do nothing but spoil the soup. It was a case of too many chefs in the kitchen for the Eagles this season, and no matter how you look at it, I do think Doug Pederson has been scapegoated here. You look back a few weeks ago, he literally came out and told reporters he wants to have a bigger impact in the talent evaluation side of things, in having a say in who the Eagles draft. Still not, taking over that responsibility and remaining a coach, but having a greater impact in that. And that, for me, was his way of kind of clearing his name from all of the wrongs that Roseman has done over the last few years. And that is where the real issue lies, because Doug Pederson, since he's arrived in 2016, 3 playoff berths, a Super Bowl, and then whatever the hell happened this year, it's been alright, Eagles fans, it has been a lot worse than Doug Pederson. And I think that having one bad year shouldn't take away from that. Super Bowl winning coaches are very, very hard to find. Good general managers, especially young ones, are beginning to come through the league at a slightly more increasing rate. But in that same span that Doug Pederson has had playoff success and dragged a carcass of a team over the line, he's had to deal with a quarterback controversy twice. Let's not forget the Sam Bradford holdout at training camp, a Nigel Bradham umbrella incident, a scene where Nelson Aguilar went to a strip club. There were contract holdouts. You had anonymous sources, oshonymous sources, people shouting down his quarterback, people saying he was unfit to be a head coach, his team falling apart with injuries time after time after time, and somehow him finding a way to get over the line. That is without anything that has happened this season. In that same span, Howie Roseman has ran the Eagles into a $70 million cap deficit, had 2 consecutive wasteful drafts, and I would like to say Miles Sanders is the exception here, and this is through no fault of his own, because the guy is clearly one of the most explosive backs in the NFL, just the Eagles aren't using him. So it's been 2 very wasteful drafts in that front. You've had free agency classes that have been filled with nothing but disappointments ever since 2017. There have been no more Patrick Robinsons, only Nickel Roby-Colemans. There have been no more Chris Long. Only Javon Hargrave, who took 9 weeks to heat up, and by the time he did, Malik Jackson then falls off a cliff and gets injured. So it's like, there is no balance here. The Eagles have flooded money into the defensive line. It is the most expensive defensive tackle position in the NFL. They've had to now restructure Jackson's contract just to get rid of him. You've had injury-plagued receivers like Deshaun Jackson stick around. You've had Alshon Jeffrey, after all he's done for the team, both good and bad, that ridiculous contract, despite having an injury this season, sitting on the team, taking up a roster spot instead of going to someone else. There has been far more roster mismanagement than there has play mismanagement. And I think you look at the Eagles' game plans this year, has Doug Pederson cocked up some decisions? Yeah, but he hasn't lost his identity. I mean, the offense did. Don't get me wrong, the offense was a train wreck. And I think a lot of that was on the masterminds, in inverted commas, being brought in. But at the end of the day, he's still aggressive on 4th down until, week 17. He's still got that team rallied. Like, through all of that, through a 4-11 season, did you ever hear one player come out and make a comment about the head coach? Did you ever see one rogue tweet about Doug Pederson? Until week 17, did you see any of it? Because I didn't. Because the locker room is invested in Pederson, whether we like it or not, whether you think he's a good coach or a subpar coach. The locker room is invested in Pederson and the culture he's instilled. Now, beyond that, and apparently his draw to try and get Press Taylor as an offensive coordinator, that's a sackable offence in itself, alright? That's fine. I understand why Jeffrey Lurie's gone, nope, the guy's lost it, let's get him out. Get that. But as a coach, as someone that has guided this team out of adversity every single year, I think the Eagles are going to miss him. I think they've made a massive, massive mistake. And this isn't the first time that Jeffrey Lurie has avoided swinging the act in the direction of his general manager. And all it's going to take is 1 draft class more, 2 draft classes more, a free agency class, a dodgy trade, and it's going to be too little too late. And this franchise will be set back 5 years instead of putting it forward 5 years. You had a franchise quarterback. You ruined it. You ruined him. There is no way you can argue the Eagles didn't at least play a catalyst in the demise of Carson Wentz. And I want to do like a documentary on that. I want to do a season review going through every single week and detailing the events that led up to this very tragic day. You can look at this team and go, this is now in a position to succeed. Because not only have they lost Pederson, they've lost all of their offensive coordinators, by the sounds of it, except for Press Taylor, which is brilliant. Defensive coordinator's gone. Brilliant. Linebackers coach is gone. Brilliant. The team's in full rebuild, has minus $70 million in cap space, and needs to hit significantly on a draft pick. We haven't even mentioned the wide receivers. We haven't even mentioned the cornerback. We haven't even mentioned what's going on at linebacker, or the fact that they have a massive problem at tight end right now. Just from a coaching standpoint, it's been set back. And the Eagles have decided to go with what I believe to be trying to keep a national perception of, we want a winning head coach and it's all about the winning. And the Eagles have gone with a perception of it's the product on the field that's the reason the team's losing, and not the way that product has been manufactured. And that's the problem, I think. Like, if you were really about Doug Pederson, you give him 1 more year, you take out Howie Roseman, you've brought in John Dorsey. You let John Dorsey run things. I don't know. But the fact that Doug Pederson has the carpet ripped from under him every single year, and Howie Roseman just gets his hand held by Joe Douglas, by Andrew Berry, by John Dorsey, and a slap on the wrist. Oh, don't draft a quarterback in the 2nd round. Oh, no quarterback factory. Naughty Howie. Like, this guy was a GM of the year a few years ago. If Doug Pederson's a Super Bowl winning head coach and is being held to that standard of a 4-11-1 season is not good enough now, Howie Roseman should too. And firing one of them isn't enough, in my opinion. If you were all in on Carson Wentz, I think you keep Doug Pederson. What they've done now is, in my opinion, take Carson Wentz's best chance at a revival with this team and just throw it away. Unless that relationship was fractured, but there were conflicting reports, we don't know, okay? When all is said and done, what the Philadelphia Eagles have shown today is that Howie Roseman holds the most power, and that no one's going to change that. So if Doug's offense doesn't fit Howie's players, goodbye. It's that simple. And it's heartbreaking because Doug Pederson is a great coach. I think he's going to land on his feet. Wouldn't surprise me if it was with New York. And I think he's going to really sting the Eagles. I think fans are going to look back on this and he will be the one that got away. He will be, that love of the life that has just disappeared. It's gut-wrenching, to be honest with you. Like, believe me, Doug Pederson deserved a lot of criticism. He deserved to be on the hot seat and get, screamed at by the front office and held accountable. He didn't deserve to lose his job. Not this year. There was clearly some frustration in Pederson's tones, in his voice, in his expressions. You look at the press conferences. He looks distraught. He looks dejected. He looks grumpy, fed up, sick, ill, tired, run down, exhausted. All of them. Who can blame him? Who can blame him? I really think the Eagles have made a monumental error here. And if they do not find the home run coach and the home run defensive coordinator and knock this draft out the park, players like Brandon Graham, players who have been there a while. Talking, obviously, Carson Wentz to be still around. We're talking Lane Johnson, a pillar of that offensive line. We're talking Jason Kelsey. They're going to bite. They're going to bite back, and they won't like it. We saw it with the Chip Kelly era when it came to an end. When the players weren't happy, they did speak up. Same guys, outside of, obviously, Carson. They spoke up. They haven't done that under Doug. Not once. Not once has that offensive line spoke up and said, Doug's a problem, this is bad, the locker room's fractured, oh my god, it's all gone wrong. I think the Eagles have made a mistake. I think they've made a monumental error, and this could set the franchise back significantly. What do you think, guys? Let me know in the comment section down below. From myself, Liam Jenkins. Hopefully you won't turn to the bottle this Monday night. I will see you very, very soon.